Hey team, Jen here. I am coming to you today with this video to discuss some tips for how to engage well in the discussion forum. As I mentioned in an earlier video about my expectations for the course, the discussion forum is one of the most crucial aspects of the online environment because that is where we get to exchange ideas, we get to push ourselves and experiment, and we also have the opportunity to practice the key moves of the academic genre. So also it gives us the chance to develop relationships with our community. So lots and lots of ways, lots and lots of reasons why the discussion forums is a really important part of the course. I wanted to take a moment to give some tips about how students can perform well in the discussion forums for my course. First of all, it's important to know that I don't always encourage students to write to the discussion prompts. This is something that I explain in more detail in my overview video about my expectations. So please go to that video so that you can learn more about how I want you to write these prompts, what I want you to write these prompts about. But for now, for this video, I want to talk about, first of all, the importance of posting on time. Many students in the course are working with a loaded schedule, right? They have a lot on their plates. Many students do. It's very important that if you want your posts to garner discussion, that you make those posts on time. Now, for every class online that I teach, those timelines look different. So make sure that you are aware of when the due date is for your main post for the discussion forum, and also when the due date is for your response posts to peers. Make sure that you're familiar with that. If you get your main post posted on time, it is more likely to garner critical engagement, not only from me, but also from your peers. So keep that in mind. Another way that you can be successful in this course with your discussion posts is to make sure that the title of your post is attractive. It's sexy. It's going to make students want to read your post, right? It lures them in. It isn't drab like, forum response number 1 or something like that, but it draws the attention of your classmates. Now, I encourage you to develop a really interesting title for your discussion post because it's very important that you also use a very interesting, unique, dead sexy title for your essay papers, right? Because the same rules apply there. You want people to read what you've written. So developing a good title is another way to garner the kind of responses that you want to your post. Another way to be successful in the forums is to refer to the student's name to whose thread or whose discussion you're responding. So for example, if you're responding to Stephanie's thread, then you want to go ahead and use her name. If you're responding to Ed's response to Stephanie's thread, then engaging with their names, with students' names, can be very helpful because it can really help us to build our sense of community, which I think can be a very difficult thing to do in an online classroom. So using names, you'll notice that it's something that I do a lot in my responses, and it's something that you can carry over to your practices as well. It's a simple thing to do, but I think it makes a lot of difference. Another thing that you can do is in your responses to students' posts, I encourage you very much to often include a series of questions that you want peers to answer. I think that when you pose questions in your forums, that engages students. They see a function or a purpose to the thread. The more kind of critical questions we ask, the more responses we're more likely to garner. And I think that initiating a discussion can be challenging. So when you pose questions, that gives us something to focus on. It gives us something to hone in on. And that can be a very useful strategy in the forums. The final thing that I want to say about the forums is Not every student will feel comfortable tackling a main post that looks very dense and intimidating. So one thing to think about is that the formatting of your discussion post need not be the same formatting that you would use for an essay. So for example, if you want to put in a couple one-liners, or if you want to use interesting fonts, or insert images or hyperlinks or video into your post, this can help to break up what can seem like a really mundane post in terms of physical appearance. Think about the discussion forum as a funner way to engage peers than you would through an essay. So if a student sees a large block of text, she's probably less likely to engage with it than she would with a paragraph that's broken up into smaller parts, where there's some bolding going on, or some smiley faces, or maybe a clip or a video of you talking. Students are more likely to engage with it with a post that looks easy to read rather than a post that looks dense. So that's my final tip for you for the discussion forums for success. And keep in mind what I tell you in my overview about my expectations is that let your passions guide your discussion post. Everybody wants to hop on that cart. Very few students uh, want to reply to a post that seems blasé, normal, average, uninteresting. So if you can show us what you got out of the readings, then students are going to be much more likely to respond. Those are my tips for success in the discussion forum. I can't wait to see you guys there.